We're getting the staples out today. There's the staples. So we're getting the staples out today. There's the staples. Back to there. Just happy to have the bandages off. So happy to have the bandages off. It's going to be about a 6-month recovery time.
And we're live. I apologize if that shocked you or if that was a bit disgusting. I thought that it would be something valuable to lead into today's video. It was lessons that I got from breaking my leg, but also lessons that I got in the subsequent month of going out in a wheelchair. So as you can see, I'm in a wheelchair. And this is actually my trusty seat. I go out in this. I crush it. Beautiful, beautiful companion was just here this evening. Wonderful. Seeing them again tomorrow. Amazing. Things are going great. Not an excuse, okay? This is actually an asset, 100%. If you don't believe me, come out with me. I will demonstrate it to you. It is fucking awesome. Love it. This is the shit, okay? And I'll give you a couple reasons why later. Another thing, though, that I want to talk to you about is what it is that I learned from being in the hospital for a week. And this was actually my second ski injury that I've had. My first one was a torn ACL. That was 2 years ago. And then this one, I was skiing and we were having a great time and I managed to fuck up and I managed to break my leg. But funny enough, before we even lead into this, I think I'll show you a little bit from my ski injury from 2 years ago and show you what it's like to snap your ACL in the middle of a ski hill. Some people have asked me about it and I'll talk a little bit about my response to it. So let's crack into clip number 2 and
my kids got separated and I've been learning skiing this year and I thought I could make it down this, but I wasn't able to, and I think I just set my knee pretty good. So that's that might be it for my ski season, but it'll probably heal by next year, or it won't be too bad. I'm not really sure, but it was definitely pretty intense as I fell. So whew, that's that for ski season. All right, this is a unique experience. I mean, why not? We're gonna do it. We'll get the ROI. We're making it look good. Interesting experience for this. Look at this. Pretty good pain tolerance, but I also know not to make things worse by further injuring them. So I'm just kind of taking it easy. It's not a big deal, but it's just unfortunate because I'll be out for the season, I think. But I got a lot of work to do, and so I'm gonna enjoy myself. And I always take it like it's just God's plan. So the creator above has said, "Hey, buddy, you got some work to do. Just go back home and do some work." So that's what I'm gonna do.
We are back. Okay, so that's my 2 major ski injuries. And what I want to do today is go very, very deep into lessons that I got from dealing with both those injuries. Okay, now by the way, if you like what it is that you learn here today, www.blueprintreloaded.com, okay? And I think that after today, when I tell you a little bit about what it is that I learned from these 2 injuries, I think that you are going to want to jump inside here because the solutions to a lot of the bullshit that I've dealt with the injuries is inside here. I'm going to explain why later. So hop on in here. This is the best program that I've created ever since 2016. Okay, this is my first major program released since 2016. This was a seminar that I worked on for about 5 years. It was about a $5,000 seminar. So people paid about $5K to attend this seminar. It's my premium seminar, the best one. And we wound up creating a digital program. It runs about 80 hours loaded and has several months of coaching included for free. So if you want to get some help from me and help from a coaching team, I think we do about, I think it's maybe 14 calls a week on this thing. It's inexpensive. I think it's something anybody could join. And it's the best program on the market that you'll find bar none. Okay, so if you want to make a lot of money, better social skills, be the kind of person that can crush it even in a wheelchair, even though it's nothing, hop on in Blueprint Reloaded right now. The actual coaching is taking place, but will be done soon. So if you want to take part in really thousands of dollars in free coachings, which eventually will be gone, hop inside Blueprint Reloaded right now, and we're gonna go into the lessons. Okay, so I'm gonna give you a bunch of kind of intense and a little bit kind of grim lessons that I got. I was in the hospital for about a week, And I'm going to tell you a couple different things that I realized. Okay, so I'm going to start off with a really grim one, but then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into some pragmatic ones of why I think it's so important. Again, to get down a lot of the stuff that you see inside Blueprint Reloaded. One of the funny ones was my assistant surgeon. And my assistant surgeon, I'm talking to him, and we became great friends. I love this guy. I literally want to fly. I did this in Sun Valley, Idaho, up near like Wyoming, Montana. And I literally want to fly this guy down to one of my parties. Like one of the coolest guys I met in my whole life. Really funny guy, great guy. I really trusted him, made me feel very comfortable. But anyway, I was talking to him about how working in a hospital had changed him. And I spent about a week in the hospital. I'm all wired up. There's, beeping happening all the time and people coming to check on me. And it's a very, very, very intense experience and really requires a lot of patience. It's just like, for someone like myself to be in an environment like that is just like the opposite of my lifestyle. And I remember I was talking to him. I said, hey, bro, in what ways has this changed you being in this hospital and, seeing a lot of death and seeing a lot of like kind of bullshit happening? How's this changed you? And he said, this has changed me very, very profoundly. It kind of changes you irreversibly. And I said, well, in what way? And this is so random, and he has some deeper insight later, but this is kind of funny. He said, well, you know what? I think when it's kind of time for me to go, when it's kind of the end of my life, maybe I'll just paint myself in some honey and go for a walk out here in Idaho. And Idaho is known as having like really big bears. So basically implying that he wants a bear to come eat him. And I'm like, bro, we're like kind of laughing, we're cracking up. I'm like, bro, getting killed by a grizzly bear, if you've ever seen the movie The Revenant, it's one of the worst ways that you could possibly die. I'm like, you don't want to do that. And he says, no, you're right. I don't want to die from a grizzly bear. I said, well, how do you want to die then? And he's like, maybe I just go take like, a little, watch a sunset at Big Sur. Big Sur is like this huge, giant cliff in the side of the Pacific Coast Highway in California, like this giant cliff. And he's like, maybe I'll just sit there, watch a little bit of the sunset, and I don't know, maybe just kind of accidentally fall off at the end of the sunset. And I'm like, brother, like, this is really, really funny. We're like laughing our asses off. I'm like in my hospital bed, I'm all fucked up. And I'm like, is this for real though? Like, is this really what you think? Or are you joking right now? And he looks at me very calmly. He says, bro, I'm serious. There's no way I'd want to go out here. This would be a terrible place to die. And this is a guy who works there. Well, the reason that I want to bring this up is that I would suppose that well over half of all of us watching this right now are going to probably die in the hospital. So this is literally, it might not be something immediately relevant to you, but like the vast majority of us are probably going to die in a hospital. I mean, unless like AI wakes up and kills us all, or if only we're so lucky, but we're like sucking some robot cock or something like that and die, the Terminator dick. But for the most part, it's like if things say at least somewhat the same, which we'll see, we will die in a hospital. And let me tell you something, like I couldn't really dispute what this man was saying. Like that is not a way that you'd want to go out. It would be honestly one of the shittiest possible ways to go out that I could think of would be dying in the hospital. You're wired up. You're uncomfortable. The nurses there are doing their best, but they don't know you. It's not family and friends. Even if family and friends are coming in there to see you a little bit, it's not a way to go out. So the big epiphany that I got from this is, honestly, just like if you drink or smoke weed or use drugs, just stop. If you smoke cigarettes, just stop. If you're eating unhealthy, just stop. Just cut all that shit out. I'm telling you, just cut it the fuck out. Make sure that you don't wind up going out like that if you can. Okay, just try to avoid it. That would be like one of the really, really big insights that I got. Okay, so that was one of them. Another one that I got, and this is really, really big, was seeing how much help that I've had in both the injuries that I've had. So torn ACL is actually pretty bad. It doesn't look that bad in the video, but if you look it up, it's a very tough injury to have. I had a completely torn ACL. I actually was able to rebuild my ACL just through training, but it's probably not the smartest way to do it. Usually people do surgery. And to be fair, I might have even avoided breaking my leg had I done the surgery properly. I would have had a bit more strength in the leg to avoid that fall. But basically, both times that I had that injury, I was surrounded with, unlimited medical care, unlimited friends and family who want to help me. I'm just surrounded by people helping me. I mean, if I'm sitting here in LA, I've got piles of people helping me. Even when I was in Idaho, I had friends drive out. My friend Sid and Damon drove out, came and got me, drove me back. I have a lot of help. I also have a company that functions without me needing to run it. So, if I want to take off a month and just fucking chill out, it really doesn't matter if I go to work or not, right? I have money coming in every single day, whether I work or not. So, I'm watching money coming in. Thank you, by the way. I love you for that. Thank you. I'm going to make sure that I do good for you too. So I'm seeing money coming in, passive income. And then I'm also seeing the fact that I have all these people here to help me. And I have the money also to pay for the surgery, which is very, very expensive. And what I keep thinking to myself as I'm watching this is I'm thinking about a lot of people who, and if this is you at home, let's say that you don't have a ton of friends, and let's say that you don't have like, a business with passive income. I mean, I even start thinking about maybe family men who maybe, would work a more physically intense job, and maybe they don't have insurance, and they're basically probably going to be flat broke and even in debt from medical care. They probably have to move out of their house and move their families into squalor while they're injured. Like, imagine me going through something like this and I'm like, oh, poor me. But imagine if I had to like move out of my house and home, had nobody to help me, move into squalor, whether it was me moving my family in, or think about all the different people who live alone who don't have any help. And what this even got me thinking a lot about is like, I've built businesses over many, many years. I'm lucky to have passive income, but it got me thinking about everybody who does not have passive income and who doesn't have social relationships, and how when you get really, really fucked, you may not have that backup and you're totally screwed. And like every single time that you get into an Uber, that Uber driver, driving you around in some Toyota Prius or something like that, can get into an accident. You could wind up in the hospital. So I'd say to you right now, like, do you have medical insurance? Do you know what you do? Like, what would you do right now if you had an accident like mine where it's pretty hard to work for a month or two? Like, what would you actually do? And I'm in a fortunate position because I've navigated my life in a way to be able to deal with that. But it gets me thinking a lot about people who don't have that. So again, that's why I was mentioning, like, and not to just bring it back to this, but being honest, like www.blueprintreloaded.com, like in here, one of the big things that we're focusing on is things like, what is your purpose? What are you good at? And then how to audit your life in a way to monetize what it is that you're actually good at, and how to look at your life and to accumulate resources and to accumulate peer groups and social groups or significant other, whatever the hell that you were trying to accumulate, and putting yourself in a position where you have a little bit of buffer, both so that you can thrive and do fun stuff, but also in case you wind up in kind of a fucked up situation. So this has just been constantly going through my mind as I'm seeing this, like, as friends are like carrying me around and grabbing me things and ordering me food and driving me around and all this stuff. If I want to go out and like, go crush at the club, they'll, my friend will go, drive me down to the club and like sit there and help me go run around and talk to everybody. Been having an amazing time. I had a lovely companion over here just tonight who's going to come see me tomorrow. I mean, it's going great, but I wouldn't have any of that if I didn't have my friends to help me. So that is a really, really big thing that I want to point out to you is like, this is a bit of an unusual video. And I was thinking whether or not I even want to do this video or not. I was like, should I post like my ski accidents or like, my fucked up leg or things like that? But I feel like it kind of makes it real to people. So I want to make it real, and I want to have like a serious discussion about this, as serious as like a man in an orange deer hat could have. But what I'm saying is, have you thought about how you're going to die? Have you thought about what you do in an accident? And have you built up enough resources to be able to handle that properly? My friend Sid, who I had on some videos recently, if you guys saw that, he actually is somebody who is a multiple business owner. He's into mergers and acquisitions. He's actually kind of like semi-retired by his mid-20s. And one of the things that he invested into was actually retirement homes. And one of the reasons why he was so sickened by it was because he was not allowed to bring in things like vitamin D or zinc or things that could help those older people. And he said that a bunch of the retirement homes that he bought, because he would just buy different, like he would own multiple different companies and different real estate investments and different things that make money. So some of the things that he owned were retirement homes, basically where you go to die. It's like end of life care. And he said that he would just go in there and it's sickening. And he says like, this is what's waiting for most people. It's literally going to be really, really, really fucking bad. So I guess what it is that I'm trying to point out to you, a couple of different lessons here. The first lesson I gave you is like, again, if you are in a wheelchair, this is not an impediment. I have tested this for the past month. It is awesome going in the wheelchair. I've had the exact same result, if not better, going in the wheelchair. I had a most incredible bombshell companion this evening who's coming back tomorrow. It hasn't been a problem. So first lesson is, this is not an obstacle. Okay, that's the first one I gave you. Second lesson is end of life. Dying in a hospital will fucking potentially suck. If it happens, it happens. I don't want to crush your hopes and dreams, but it's something that really, really scares me, frankly, after seeing that, and avoid it. And the third one is think about what the end of your life is going to look like, and what it means to have money, and what it means to build that up, and what it means to put yourself in a position where you're not going to be totally left screwed. Okay, so I'd even like to see that in the comments. Like, underneath this in the comments, write what you would do. Like, if you got in an accident where you couldn't work for 2 months right now, what would you do? If it was the end of your life, how would you like to go out? I just like to make a little video to get you thinking about this. So that was another thing that I wanted to talk about, okay? So powerful lesson there. And again, www.blueprintreloaded not only goes into how to all the OG content and how to crush it and how to thrive, but also how to just build up resources so that you can be protected. And it really, really does cover this. Like, I don't think there's a better source that you could go to in the world than this, in the sense that not only is it loaded with the best digital content, about 80 hours of it that covers this stuff, but then you have the fact that you're having coaching all throughout the week. And it's probably the most inexpensive way to get coaching on the entire internet that I could think of that quality of coaching, okay? So I'd like to interact with you personally. This is a program that we used to charge about $5,000 to attend. Blueprint Reloaded, hop on in there and let's go, okay? Now, having said that, okay, and I hope that you're jumping over to that site right now and getting in. Having said that, I wanna give you a little bit of another lesson, okay? So you might've seen in that ACL tear that I had, in no way, shape, or form did I show, I mean, you can tell obviously that I'm hurt, that's obvious, but I'm not overtly showing weakness or complaining. And you'll notice that because what happened was I tore my ACL and then I had to crawl up that hill with a torn ACL. It's excruciating. And then I had to call the ski people to get me down the hill, right? This was 2 years ago. The broken leg was even worse, by far. And notice that I'm kind of trying to crack up the guys that are skiing me down, right? And it was the same thing with the broken leg. Was as soon as I was in the ambulance and that kind of thing, I'm just looking to stay present, and I'm looking to crack up the people that are that are kind of like helping me, right? Servicing me, I don't know what that could mean, but anyway, the people that are helping me. And the reason why I did that is, to me, that's like a personal commitment, not to be a bitch. And look, if you're a bitch, you're a bitch. We all have our bitch moments, okay? Like everybody. But to try not to be, and I understand that sounds a little bit intense, but to try not to be. But in addition to that, it was also the way that I see life. It's kind of funny. It's sort of like a funny way to see life, but I view it like every single moment counts to some extent. So in other words, a moment in your life where you have a broken leg, even a fresh one, that's still a moment of your life, right? It's still the opposite of death. You're not dead, you're alive. So if you're alive, you still want to make the best out of that moment that you possibly can. So I try to carry that same demeanor everywhere. Like, if I'm in an Uber, I'm going to crack up the Uber driver, and I'm going to put good vibes on the Uber driver. If I'm out at a nightclub, I'm going to put good vibes out of the nightclub. If I'm in a seminar, I want to put good vibes in the seminar. If I'm in an infield training, I want to put good vibes in the infield training. If I'm doing some coaching inside Blueprint Reloaded, I want to put some good vibes inside Blueprint Reloaded. Well, in the same way, like if I have an injury, I want to create good vibes for everybody. So something that I challenge myself to do is I would ask the people that are helping me, like, hey, how's your day going? What have you been up to today? Hey, I bet you've seen some pretty fucked up stuff today, huh? Hey, how you okay looking at this? We okay? Right? Like getting them cracking up. And as soon as I got to the hospital, that was my major goal, was to get the different nurses laughing. And I wanted to defy their expectations of what it looks like to handle some like mangled person. And I wanted to show them that like not every single person who they help is going to be a black hole. So what I kind of did, like one of the ways that I kind of was able to go through the pain of that was I was able to just keep having a fun time and say to myself, like, this could still be a fun day. Like, why does this day have to be a waste? Why can't this day be awesome? And I understand that's a little crazy. Like, it's kind of like David Goggins' vibe, where it's like, you got to be a tough guy and like that kind of stuff. I get that. I'm not trying to like set some super high bar. But if you think about it rationally, I think that's just a better way to approach it. Because, I don't know, what's like the best way to get out of your own pain is to get other people to have fun. So that was sort of another thing that I thought a lot about while I was in the hospital, was just like, how can I make everybody have fun? How can I make this fun? Now the other lesson that I got in the hospital, and this was like a really, really crazy one for me, was patience. And I'm the kind of person where, I've built a business and I built a lifestyle where I don't want to have to be patient. I don't want to have to wait for things. And I don't want to have to wait for some slow result. And so I'm sitting there and it's just amazing, like just the time's going by, and man, is it ever slow. It's just crazy slow. And I've had people in my life that were really, really patient people. My ex-girlfriend actually was one of the most patient people I've ever met. And I always admire that about her. And I've had other friends of mine that are very, very patient, but I've always struggled with being patient. And it was kind of a beautiful experience for me to say, like, you know what? This is my moment to learn patience. So in the same way that somebody might go to Vipassana, which is a meditation retreat that lasts about 10 days, and you just kind of sit there and you got to kind of drop into a state of meditation. This is kind of like Vipassana on steroids, where you're kind of meditating and staying present, but then at the same time your leg is like really, really bad and throbbing. And I think I had probably the least amount of painkillers of anybody who's been in that position. Like my doctors kept coming in being like, when are you going to take your painkillers? I'm like, no, I'm good. And again, like, if you need the painkillers, if you're ever in that situation, take them. I'm not trying to like, influence you to do something to hurt yourself or anything fucking crazy. But just in my case, for me, it was just like, and again, do what works for you. There's nothing wrong with taking painkillers. But for myself, I just thought that it would be fun to challenge myself to minimize them. So I was kind of just minimizing them the entire time and just learning to be very, very, very patient. So that was another lesson, was just patience. Another lesson that I want to share was something that I found really, really profound, which was that this was the first time that I could remember feeling a little bit almost like less kind of Genghis Khan-like and more understanding the psychology of the average person that I might meet on the street who kind of just wishes that like they had like a nice meal to eat, like a decent house to live in, and like one wife, right? Like I finally understood that psychology, because a lot of what I felt when I was in there was like, man, like if I could just walk again and like just like have like a normal life, like I would take that. I don't want to be so aggressive. I don't need to be this ambitious. Like if I just had a normal life again, like I'd be so happy. So it's funny because like I'll have so many students that have come through my programs and they're like, if I could just get a girlfriend, like I don't need to learn all this. And I'm like, what's wrong with you? Let's go out, let's smash this shit. You know what I mean, right? Like I literally don't even know what they're talking about. Like I can like kind of have some vague memory of what that was like, but I haven't understood that level of psychological defeat in many, many years. And I've always wanted to be more expansive and ambitious. Like even with this, I tore my ACL skiing, and like within 2 years I'm back out skiing again. And like, in 2 years I'll be back out skiing again. I'm fucking crazy. That's just kind of how I do it. And so like, I don't really compute defeat. Like I always view life as a rare opportunity. It's like a very, very short and rare opportunity. So in my mind, I'm always wanting to be expansive and to kind of go out there and to do things and to make the most out of things. And making the most out of things could be like just the vibe that you're creating and laughing and having fun with your friends and sharing the moment. Or it could be about doing things that are expensive and challenging and hard to do, and finding ways to do things and being creative. And, maybe you don't have the resources to go do something, then you find a way to get the resources. So I always like to be very, very ambitious and take on really hard, really big projects. But for the first time, I understood why I think it is that people mic thing here. 1 second, guys. We're back. So how much should we lose? Are we okay?
About 5 seconds.
5 seconds. Okay, so we're good. But anyway, yeah, like I'd see comments like this. Sorry about that, guys. It really is live. So I would see comments like this where people are like, I can't do it like you. And I'm like, what in the fuck? Like, is this a joke? Like, are these guys kidding? What is going on? Okay, we're back. So I realized from that, I was like, oh, the reason why guys think looks and money matter, or the reason why guys think that they can't get rich, is because they're hurt, they're traumatized, they're hurt, they're injured, they're so psychologically defeated that there's not enough bandwidth there to have that degree of ambition or aggression. And so what's happening is so much of their time is spent stuffing down their pain. So, we've taught trauma healing so much over the years, transformation mastery and all that. And what I would say to you is, if you're somebody who struggles with absolute rock solid confidence, or you're somebody who struggles with ambition and you feel like you don't have a big enough ambition, try to heal all that crazy trauma shit. Because I think what's happening is, in the same way that my leg made me feel like I can't take on the world anymore, and I felt that way temporarily for like a week or two, even though I knew that eventually it would fix, but it was just like the way that I felt at that time. That's probably what's happening to you if you're experiencing that. The natural state of being is 1,000,000% confidence with absolute crazy ambition. The reason I say that is because how did human beings conquer the earth, right? So obviously, if human beings conquer the earth, like we know that we could do anything. We know that we have superpowers. We're like fucking supermen, superwomen. Like we're insane. We're that powerful. But if you've forgotten that, it could be because you're hurt internally. Fix that hurt. Just do it quickly. Don't even wait. Just do it like today, tomorrow. Like just get it done. Put it in the rearview mirror, and then come back into your natural state. So that was another kind kind of lesson that I took from that as well. Okay. Now I want to turn a little bit to the going out lessons. Going out in my little trusty seater with the wheelchair. So the reason I think that I get probably about double the attraction going out in a wheelchair than I do out of the wheelchair. And the reason why I think that is personally is because I think that when people see you in the wheelchair, they're expecting you to look a little bit beat down or defeated. So when I go out, I'm very, very gregarious, very, very funny, very, very loud. And so what happens is I kind of like still go around in the wheelchair, just like running the fucking show, just dominating. And I think what happens is that doing it from the wheelchair, it winds up coming across as peacocking, and they think that you shouldn't be the person to do that. So they're like, damn, like if this guy's that powerful and he's just in the wheelchair and he's this funny, well, then this must be somebody very unique. Like, who the fuck is this guy? And for that reason, I just noticed that like I really do get attraction so much easier. One of my favorite gags too is that once I kiss, then I stand up because with my right leg I can stand up. I go, I'm cured, and I'll stand up, and then they freak out. But there's really nothing stopping you if you have some kind of an impediment like that. And by the way, look, I'm going to have this wheelchair pretty much permanently. So if you're somebody who's in a wheelchair and you want to come learn from me and you want me to do this with you, like I will take this out with you. And I'm not saying that like once I heal, I'm not saying that I would like stay on the entire time, but I will definitely do like 15, 20 minutes with you on this, and I'll show you and I'll take you on the rounds. And I'm telling you, you can fucking smash in this thing, absolutely. Now, it's obviously very different from me, okay, because what I'm saying is a bit insensitive because I just have a broken leg. It's nothing, right? If you're someone who's paralyzed, like I've actually had students that are paralyzed before. If you're somebody who's paralyzed, you have to live with that, right? And so there's no end in sight to that. But look, in truth, like I'm not sure if this leg's going to entirely heal. Like I'm not even sure if I'm ever going to walk properly again. Like I don't know. I think I will. I think I'll ski and all that, but you don't really know, right? It's comminuted fracture. It's like really blasted. They had to put a lot of like plates and bars in there and stuff. So the point is like none of us ultimately know, you know, whether or not like AI and stem cells and all that's going to fix everything, or AI is going to come kill all of us. Like we don't really know what the future is. All that we have is the present. All that we have is the now. So if you're somebody who's been through an accident, I'm telling you, like I'm going out in this thing, I'm smashing it. Again, I had the amazing companion over tonight who's coming back tomorrow. And I'm telling you, like, there's really nothing holding you back. In fact, if anything, I think the wheelchair makes you come across as more attainable. So they actually are like, oh, I could keep on to this guy. Okay, so I think that there's actually a huge advantage there. And again, like, come out with me and watch me do this. Like, it's really, really fun to do. There's nothing holding you back. Please, please, please remember that. There really is nothing holding you back, okay? But again, you have to be powerful, strong, all the lessons that we teach here. If you just go around kind of looking like, hi, like, I'm the wheelchair guy, like, looking for a pat on the head. Like, you do not want that. I've always said that, like, the hardest thing about being in a wheelchair, I always said this, was people giving you the sympathy pat on the head vibes. They're like, oh, let me get out of your way. Like, let me get out of your way. Like that kind of stuff. You don't want that sympathy. You want shit tests. You want them to frame test you to shit test you. You want them to verbally spar with you, and you want real attraction and real tension, okay? So if you see that anyone's giving you the pat on the head vibes, don't fuck with that shit. Start creating real tension like right off the jump, and then it's gonna be fucking awesome. It's gonna go great, okay? Don't take a false positive, okay? It's like being in a strip club. You know, the stripper's like, oh, hey, like, you're so handsome. You've almost got to start teasing them and pushing them away because you want to get rid of that false positive and you want to start to create genuine tension. So that would be like my other little piece of advice with that, okay? But anyway, look, I guess I just wanted to leave like those couple basic lessons that I've had from these two stupid ass ski accidents that I've had. And what I also want to tell you is like, I love skiing and I don't regret anything that's ever happened. Part of life, like, you know, I go hiking in grizzly bear country. I go hiking up into the mountains in Alaska, Montana, all that kind of stuff. Like someday a grizzly bear might come fucking kill you. You know, if you ski, someday you can have a horrible accident. Like that's part of life. But life ultimately, trying to extend your life indefinitely, in my view, is not the path. Rather, it's about the depth of life that you have. So enjoy life fully, and whatever happens, happens. Don't be afraid of it. But what I would say, and I mentioned this before, is do think about what you would do if you had an injury, or if, you know, what you'll do at the end of your life and how you'll pay for that. And again, www.blueprintreloaded.com. Hop in there. Okay, I've got a lot of time to do coaching right now, so I'm in there coaching. But what I'd say to you is think a lot about what you do as far as having good friends and good people around you that are there to help you in case you get into a little bit of trouble, okay? Having real alliances, real friends, real people who care about you, passive fucking income, or maybe even a little bit of swagger, you know? So if you have an accident, you still have a nice companion to come over. I mean, I can't tell you how crazy it was even tonight being with my companion, and I'm just like literally lying there. I can't even move my left leg, and I'm just like, wow, like this is like some kinky shit, you know? And she kept being like, am I hitting the leg? You know, right? So it's one of these things where realize that, like, you know, having some swagger if you have an accident, or having some money if you have an accident, or having friends if you have an accident, those are things that are going to give you a buffer. Remember, like what I said from my surgeon who told me that funny story about how he's going to cover himself in honey and get a bear to eat him rather than dying in the hospital. Try to avoid dying in the hospital. Make sure that you have a plan for what the end of your life is going to look like. Keep yourself as healthy as humanly possible. It's super, super, super important. And last thing that I'd say, and here's my very final statement that I'd say, it's crazy, like, and again, like, I'm not like depressed about it or anything, but when you're not really able to walk around easily, and you see other people that can walk around easily and they're complaining about things, you're like, wow, like you know that kind of expression, like, you know, there's people dying in wars in the country, and and you kind of like know that in abstract, but you don't see it. This was something that really, I'm now able to see that so different. Like, I have such a different contrast bias now of like what a real impediment or problem looks like. And I'm telling you something, if you're somebody that has your mobility, you don't have a fucking problem. I have no sympathy for you whatsoever. I wish you the best. I'm here to help you. I have some empathy, but I have no sympathy, because if you're walking and you're moving, then shut the fuck up and enjoy your fucking life, okay? So that would be the final little lesson that I would give you. But anyway, we're gonna be coming back with a lot of good lives. I've been shooting lives since I've been injured, but this was the first time that I kind of did the little bit of a reveal of what I'm dealing with. But I've been shooting prior to that, just kind of, you know, not talking about it. But I thought, why not talk about it a little bit? And I know that video at the start's a little bit kind of gross and shocking. I don't know if YouTube is going to like try to make it like an adult-only video, or what's going to happen there, or like block it or something. But I thought it would make it a little bit more real, and I wanted to kind of focus the conversation on, you know, some real things that I've experienced and some lessons that I learned. I hope that you enjoyed it. I'll see you inside www.blueprintreloaded.com. Incredible coaching going on in there right now, and about 80 hours of content that will show you how to build all the things that we're talking about right here. Enjoy it. See you inside, and thank you for listening. Peace.